The Board of Aldermen to order. If you would please rise and recite the pledge with me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Alderman Davidson.
Present.
Alderman Franklin.
Present.
Alderman Turner.
Present.
Alderman Cheney.
Present.
Alderman Mills.
Present.
Alderman Dorhoff.
Present.
Alderman Fouch.
Present.
Alderman Milner.
Present.
Mayor Zaring.
Present. Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you. First on the agenda tonight, we got some ceremonial matters. Don't have anybody to present this to, so I'm going to read it from up here. It's actually a proclamation for Local Government Week. Whereas local governments in Missouri make important decisions that affect the lives of all Missourians, and whereas local governments are the level of government closest to the people, and whereas local governments include city councils, county commissions, school boards, among others, and whereas local governments are the ultimate expression of grassroots democracy, and whereas local governments play an essential role in the quality of life in Missouri communities. Now, therefore, I, Mike Zaring, Mayor of Harrisonville, do hereby name May 12th, 2024 as Local Government Week in Harrisonville, Missouri, and urge all Missourians to join me in recognizing local governments as they serve their communities. And that is very true. We are at the grassroots. It's one of the most important levels to be at. So the citizens have the most contact at this level and most control. So, all right. Next up, we will... No public participation, correct?
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay. And approval of minutes, the Board of Aldermen regular meeting from April 15th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Alderman Franklin with a second from Alderman Kyle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those stand as written. Next is the Board of Aldermen work session from April 15th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Alderman Kyle with a second from Alderman Franklin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, those stand. And then we have the Board of Aldermen work session from April 29th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Alderman Turner with a second from Alderman Dorhoff. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right. Those minutes all stand as written. Next up, we've got several board appointments tonight, so we'll be going through each of those. First one is Council Bill 15.
A resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, approving the reappointment of April McLaughlin to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Oh, yep. Gotcha. Okay, and I don't think April is in. Thanks. April is in the audience here tonight, but she has agreed to continue on the Historic Preservation Commission. Long time serving on a couple of boards here in the city, so I bring her tonight for you to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Alderman Turner with a second from Alderman Fouch. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Council Bill 15 is now Resolution 2024-06. Next up, we have Council Bill 16.
A resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, approving the appointment of Vanessa Hargrave as an alternative member to the Board of Zoning Adjustments.
Okay, so I think most of us know Vanessa. She is here tonight, and she has agreed to serve as an alternate on that board. Thank you, Vanessa. As you know, Vanessa is very active and is a perfect example of how a citizen should get involved and make things happen. So we appreciate that, Vanessa. Did you want, you have anything you want to say? No? Okay. Well, we appreciate it. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion from Alderman Dorhoff with a second from Alderman Davidson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, Council Bill 16 becomes Resolution 2024-07. Next up is Council Bill 17.
A resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, approving the appointment of Brian Wooten to the Board of Zoning Adjustments.
All right, so bring to you Brian Wooten. He is here tonight. He serves on other boards as well, very active within the community. Did you have anything you wanted to say, Brian? No? Okay. So I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second?
Motion from Alderman Davidson with a second from Alderman Turner. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, Council Bill 17 is now Resolution 2024-08. Next up is Council Bill 18.
A resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, approving the appointment of Amanda Stites to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Okay, and I don't believe Amanda's in the audience tonight, but again, Amanda does a lot, and we all know her, and a lot she does with the square and involved with our community here, so I will entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Alderman Franklin with a second from Alderman Cheney. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Council Bill 18 is now Resolution 2024-09. Next, we have Council Bill 19.
A resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, approving the appointment of Bing Schimmelfinning to the Historic Preservation Commission.
All right, I think we all know Bing as well, very active in the community. He has agreed to serve on the Historic Preservation Board as well. I think that's a perfect fit for him for our boards here. And with that, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
A motion from Alderman Turner with a second from Alderman Dorhoff. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Council Bill 19 is now Resolution 2024-10. Next, we have Council Bill 20.
A resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville authorizing the city administrator to conduct the annual destruction of records in accordance with the State of Missouri record retention schedules.
All right, Daniel.
Make a motion to approve.
I love that idea. Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. As Alderman Cheney so eloquently put it, this is our annual records destruction. If you have any questions, feel free to fire away. Otherwise, we'd appreciate your approval, and we'll get them taken care of.
I second the motion.
All right, got a motion from Alderman Cheney with a second from Alderman Mills. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, so Council Bill 20 is now Resolution 2024-11. Next is Council Bill 21.
A resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, adopting short-term goals of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri.
All right. Brad, I think you were going to talk a little bit. This is just the short-term goals that we just met on at our retreat last week. But
Yes, each of those goals spelled out there with the, we put them under short-term goals under which ones that you all have brought up in each one of those main goals. And so we will utilize those for our guidance and our budgeting and our priorities.
any questions on that? Anything that is in
I
there?
make a motion to approve.
Motion from Alderman Fouch to approve.
Second.
Second from Alderman Cheney. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, Council Bill 21 is Resolution 2024-12. Next, we have Council Bill 22.
An ordinance of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, amending Section 340.110 of the Harrisonville Municipal Code.
Thank you, sir. All right. I think it's the chief.
Brad, do you want me to?
Or Brad?
Talk about it if you want.
Okay.
Either one of you.
Okay, this is an ordinance that is going to allow the use of utility vehicles on city streets, but with some serious several parameters. So originally, our code currently right now does not allow UTV vehicles on city streets. They're mostly used for agricultural purposes. Every city has to allow that, but certain cities can allow UTV use on their roadways subject to a lot of restrictions. It's all in here. I could go through every one, but some of the key points I think are they can't be operated on any road where the speed limit's over 45 miles an hour. They have to obtain a city permit to be able to drive these on the streets. And a big part of the city permit is an affidavit. That affidavit says that you have the financial responsibility to basically insurance. It's the same thing for motorcycles where you have to prove financial responsibility if you want to ride a motorcycle without a helmet in the state of Missouri. The penalties for violating this section can be $100 to $300, which is a somewhat high municipal fine. But the fine for lying on the affidavit, in talking with city staff, we thought that that was very important to make that an even higher fine. So if someone is caught lying on their affidavit saying they don't have financial responsibility, maybe they don't own the vehicle, maybe it's rented, they're just driving around, then that would be a $200 to $400 fine. So Missouri law is really clear, and the statute is Missouri Statute 304.032. That allows local governments to authorize the use of UTV vehicles within the city, and then the city is then empowered to put any kind of restrictions it needs to on that use. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
I do. We're going to talk about that first. I don't think $200 or $400 for lying on affidavit for getting a permit is enough. I think it needs to be a minimum of $500 to lie. If you're going to lie on an affidavit, I mean, they're required to have the financial responsibility. If they're going to lie about it, I think not only should it be a $500 fine, but I think they should be revoked. And I didn't see that in there, that we would revoke them for lying on the affidavit. Did we?
No, not specifically, but that can be a part of an amendment to this if you'd like that.
I do. I mean, I think it needs to be a significant fine, and I think it needs to be a revocation of that permit. And a revocation to me, it would be at least 1 year. I don't entertain anybody else's opinion, but at least 1 year. I also,
And before you move on to your next one, I just wanted to close out with everybody on the board, because we'll amend it, if everybody's in agreement, at the next meeting, at the second reading.
Sure. Yeah.
So
okay.
I just wanted to make sure nobody
Okay.
else had anything to add or take away from that. Are we good with?
So on I, is there any, like a second or third offense? Is there a revoking of the permit?
There's not currently. We can add that to I. Alderman Davidson was discussing J. We can add a revocation provision to both if a certain amount of violations or a revocation for a certain amount of years.
I think the first should be a suspension, and the second one should be a revocation.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
Good with that? Okay.
Suspension for how long?
90 days. I mean, driver's licenses are usually 30, 60, and 90, and a revocation for a year, but let's just do 90 days for
Suspension
the
of 90 days.
90 days.
And I will interface with the new city prosecutor because he will be the one that, he or
Absolutely.
she will be the one that will be prosecuting this, not me. So I always like to loop them in and maybe even Judge LaGrasso to make sure that they're okay with this. But I can add that provision, suspension for 90 days upon a first offense. The second offense is a revocation. Update the $500 fine for lying on the affidavit if there's board support for that. And then I always like to add some sort of, in any subsequent violation, because sometimes people don't stop just because they're revoked or suspended. And so usually those fines after a suspension or after a revocation of the license are very high because they're obviously flaunting the law. So
Are there any streets in town that have a speed limit higher than, 45 miles? No?
When you first come in,
Oh, yeah.
first come up the hill, it's 45.
Okay. Anything else, any other questions or concerns on that part of it? All right, go ahead, Alderman Davidson, your next one.
Also, I thought we were talking about, it says a seatbelt or harness for driver and occupant in accordance with the statutes listed, specifically referring to transporting of children. 7178 is a seatbelt. Is one of those the child restraint? I didn't look those up. Is one of them, so a child under certain weights or certain heights, is one of those
I believe so, but
refer to that?
I believe so, but I'll double check. It's been a week and a half or so since I've looked at this, so. You're talking about like specific restraints for children under a
Yes,
certain
child
weight,
restraint
yes.
seat, absolutely, yes, sir.
What's the next one?
Permit, instruction, it says permit or, let me find it again.
Is it letter F you're talking about, the city permit?
No, I'm sorry, the driver's licenses.
B.
Is it B?
B.
Okay. I'm okay with the intermediate driver, but instruction permit, I don't think we should allow a
Oh, I see,
15-year-old
okay.
to be operating that. I mean, they should have a valid driver's license, not an instruction permit. So I think we need to specify that, because it just says,
The permit and intermediate driver license rules, is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
And B,
uh-huh.
yeah, I understand.
so I don't think we need to allow a 15-year-old to be operating it while they're still in the instruction permit.
No, yeah, I actually meant for that to be like the permit, meaning like these permit rules, but I understand how that's confusing. It does at the first sentence say shall have a valid operator's or chauffeur's license. But I see what you're saying. I'll make that more clear in here that it's a valid Missouri
Okay.
or Kansas or whatever, valid driver's license, not a learner's permit. I can even
Please,
just
yes,
make
sir.
a specific learner's permits are specifically not allowed to operate on their own. You would, this raises a question, because you can drive with a permit in a vehicle with a parent. Do you want, you gotta have a valid driver's license to operate the vehicle, full stop?
I think that should be, yes.
Okay.
That's all I
Okay.
can think of right now.
That's it? All right. Anything else from anybody else? Any concerns we want to address?
I just have a question about proof of financial responsibility. Is that insurance, or what is that?
Yeah, it's typically insurance. In those statutes there, they discuss when they changed the laws in Missouri to no longer require a helmet when driving a motorcycle, you have to be able to not wear a helmet while driving a motorcycle. You must be able to prove financial responsibility. And that's where we took this from, is it's to maintain insurance policies that would cover liability for the vehicle should you cause an accident or be involved in an accident. It's so that the city, the local hospitals do not bear the brunt of those expenses because you chose to operate a UTV on a city street.
Okay.
Since Vanessa brought this, can we ask her to step up and ask her if she's got any comments about this and what we just discussed? Would that be appropriate?
Are the board okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, come on up, Vanessa.
I did check. The,
Push the button, Vanessa.
oh, sorry. Okay. The one you were asking about, the ordinance, it is the specific child restraints, booster seats, et cetera. So that outlines all of that. Okay. Were there any other questions?
No, I just wanted
What are
the
your
comments
thoughts?
as we talked.
Our thoughts? I read it when I got the draft, when I got this revision of it. I understood, I didn't have the same question about the permit. I took it as the permit from the city, and saw that you already had to be 16 and have a valid driver's license. So yeah, none of the comments you made, I don't disagree with. I don't care how high the fee is if you lie on the affidavit, because none of us are gonna lie on our affidavit. So I don't think that that's a problem that any of us have. So yeah, we're on board. But I'd love if there's any other questions, because I know the hope is to get to the second reading on the next meeting. So if there's anything else, we would love to answer questions tonight.
Thank you, Vanessa.
What's that? Oh, okay.
Not for you.
Is it for her?
So,
Oh, okay.
one of the things we'll make sure everybody understands, we will do, if you do pass it tonight to go to the second reading, staff is working on those forms to be online but you can't fill them out online. You'll have to download them, print them off, sign them, and bring them to the police department, or you can get them at the police department and pay for your permit and get your sticker and everything there. So we're gonna, to move that quick to get everything put on, if you're gonna, type it in on our servers, it won't work that quick. So what we as staff determined and talked to Chief Harris about, which would be, that would all be at the police department. You can get it online, download it, fill it out, bring the information in, and then get your permit from them.
Sure. That's what, I mean, Cass County, you have to walk in and go get yours there, so.
Yeah, we noticed they did it too, so we didn't think it'd be a big issue, but to get it all up there for as quick as some are wanting to see, we didn't want to hold people up.
Nope, that's fair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
We
all your
appreciate
work
it.
on that. Yep. Yep.
So,
Yes.
would we need to pass it as amended tonight?
No.
To get to the second reading?
It's just that this is the first reading tonight, so I'm taking all this. The next meeting will be the second reading, and that's when you all vote on it. So there's no action you need to take to pass it to a second meeting.
Even though
To the
we
amendments.
amend it.
They can do the amendments, approve the amendments tonight for the second reading.
You can, but I don't believe it's necessary. I mean, this is all public record from what we've discussed. The new ordinance as amended will be on the next agenda, and so that ordinance as it's written will be noticed for the public, so you don't have to make the motion and specifically call out all these amendments. They'll just be in the new copy for the next meeting. If you have any amendments at the next meeting, those amendments will need to be on the record here, and we'll have to sound those out. But we don't need to do it tonight, since tonight is just the first reading, and this is why we do a first reading, to work on something and then bring a more polished ordinance at the next meeting.
Awesome, thank you. All right, moving along, if there's nothing else on that, I'm going to open up a public hearing on Tree City USA and Community Forestry Plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Tonight's kind of a two-part informational session. So it's wanted to inform you kind of about our Tree City USA, which I mentioned a couple of weeks ago at our last meeting when we did our proclamation. But tonight we have before you the Community Forestry Plan, which is the ordinance after the public hearing. And part of that Community Forestry Plan is one of our steps to become Tree City USA eligible. And so we've been working towards this. Got our park board president in the audience over there with Laura Fries. And so we've been working on this since September of 2022. I had to go back in the minutes to figure out when we touched on this. But park board did agree to move forward with working towards becoming a Tree City USA. And then the last park board meeting, park board voted to establish the park board as the new tree board for the city of Harrisonville, and that is another requirement for the Tree City USA. So park board will be doing double duty, both park board and tree board, so exciting stuff. But we've so we got our tree board established, our tree ordinance hopefully will get established very soon, and then we already part of another requirement is to have a budget of at least $2 per capita, and we already are hitting that mark with the budget we currently have, just based on the in-kind tree work that we already do in the Parks Department. So we're already hitting that requirement, and this past Friday we had an Arbor Day celebration with the high school environmental club, planted a tree at the high school, and so we checked that box as well. So the only thing remaining is our tree care ordinance, which if you guys have any questions on that, I'm happy to ask, or if Christina needs to answer those ordinance questions, she is here as well. So,
Questions? Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak on this? No further questions?
all right,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your work on that. I'm going to close the public hearing. Okay, and then next up, we have Council Bill 23.
An ordinance of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville establishing Article 4 Community Forestry Plan under Chapter 225 Parks and Recreation for the City of Harrisonville, Cass County, Missouri.
All right, thank you, Christine. And this is just the first reading on this one as well, so.
So I bring back behind all the background research. As Grant mentioned, he started this quite a bit back. I came in maybe a month later, met with Missouri Commerce, yes. I was trying to think of the right one for a minute, and I almost said the wrong one. Department of Commerce, back in October. They gave us a lot of information. We did some more digging. A lot of other things were happening, put it on hold, then got back to it a little bit after the first of the year. So the ordinance that's proposed is a combination of the various ordinances that they told us to take a look at and compare. We met Grant, Hildebrand, myself, Brent, trying to think who else we had in there. I know we invited Carl at one point, but I think Patty just covered that. And had a lot of conversation on tree placement and utilities and all the different pieces that went into this ordinance. So if anybody wants to get down into the finite points of it, I'm more than welcome to. But it did have a lot of group discussion and comparing other communities' regulations when they did this as well.
Thank you. Any questions?
I do have a question. We're not providing any services to the general public, are we? Like,
Grant, I don't think we have anything like
it's
that in here.
all on public land.
Yeah, these are, so there are a lot of cross-references within this ordinance as well to other parts of the ordinance code that have to do with amendments I've done in the last 2 years, which is part of the reason why it was helpful for me to write that versus asking Patty or Grant to do it, just because of my familiarity with some of those. A lot of the things I've done in the last few years talk about development specific. This points to that in reference, but this is really intended to look just at the city's right-of-way and trees within the city right-of-way that the city would own.
Any other questions for Christine? All right, we'll bring that back for a second reading on at our May 20th meeting. Thank you, Christina. All right. Next up, we got Alderman and committee reports. We'll start with Alderman Cheney. Not Alderman Kyle, or Alderman Cheney.
I have nothing. I wish I had something to add, but.
All right, thank you. Alderman Franklin.
Wanted to let everybody know on June 1st is the first Farmers and Artists Market will be coming up. And then on June 8th, we will have Junk in the Trunk with the Farmers Market. So we've got things planned for the kiddos on both days. So make sure you come on out and take advantage of the small businesses that set up there and check them out. And then I also, last week, when we had our retreat, I wanted to thank Rusty for the tour of the fire station. It was really interesting. Done a lot of work. It looked really nice. I know you've got some yet to go, but I thought it looked great. So, and then as far as our retreat went, I just wanted to say I thought it was really nice to have everybody there and talking and open discussions about the issues that we were talking about concerning the city. I thought it was nice that we all talked and respectful of one another's opinions, whether they differ or not. So I really enjoyed that. So thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Davidson.
With all the rain we've had, I think what we started many years ago has proven to be good. Other than the ash, normally we would have had flooding probably on the south side of town. We didn't. However, I do, and Brad, if you'll address the names of the individuals that were there, because we got information that the Double Barrel down on South Commercial, there by the trade fair going to and by Sutherland's, was all stopped up with trees and stuff like that nature. And we contacted MoDOT. MoDOT didn't do it, and so we had to send our own personnel out there to take care of it on a Friday evening, so we would ensure that we had good flow into that double barrel. So I want to thank them specifically because that was after hours that they had to go out and do it. They got it clean to ensure that any rain that we had over the weekend was not going to get stopped up by that. So that being said, thank them, and if you'll address them by name, I would greatly appreciate it, Brad.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Alderman Mills?
Yeah, much improvement over the years on stormwater and tree trimming. So great headway over the years, over how it was in the past. The bridge repair down on Independence Street, the fence there, it's nice to see that got damaged a ways back, and that's all nice and pretty again. So however that got fixed, that's great. Now the rain might have washed it away, but the grass was growing really nice on the where the power plant was. It was really looking nice. It may still look nice, but I haven't been there since all the rain. And then Wednesday night, MoDOT had a small army out on 291 and Commercial Street and redirecting traffic, and the massive machine grinding off all of the striping. And I would say 80 or 90% of it's back. It's all bright and looks really nice, but the rain must have washed them out. There's a few things missing that they only go so far and then they stop. So I think they'll be coming back to finish, but it's really, really nice to be able to see all the correct paths for cars to take out there on that deal. I think that's it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Alderman Turner?
Kind of same thing that Alderman Davidson said with the creek and all the trees and stuff, and I think the employees should get it cleaned out. I mean, I had a few people text me, send me pictures about it too, and worried about it. And this is still rainy season, so I mean, but I'm glad we were able to get it done, and hopefully, maybe we can get MoDOT to stay more on top of it. But if not, we know that we can do it. And I'd say, I think it was Dan, I posted a picture of the retention pond. I mean, it had quite a bit of water in it. I mean, so I mean, it seemed like it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to. I mean, we didn't have any flooding down there, so that was really good. When we get Ash Street raised up, that should help that part too. So we're making big strides in our stormwater and trying to keep the water down, keep everybody from flooding. So, and I didn't thank the employees again and the electric department. We didn't have any. I mean, I didn't have any flickers or nothing, which normally in the wind and the storm, I would at least have a few. I don't remember last time I had one. I mean, we've really improved on the tree trimming, and I know we still got some more to go, but I mean, pretty soon, I mean, storms don't bother me anymore now about power. So that's all I got.
All right, thank you, sir. Alderman Fouch?
Yeah, glad to see some work going on at the hospital, the old hospital.
Yeah. Small bit.
Small bit, yeah. Brad will talk more about that, I'm sure. The 353 board has received 2 residential applications, and we'll meet Wednesday night to talk about those. I think one of them is submitted an application, but is going to hold off in terms of timing until the fall. But so glad to see that starting to bubble up. And then we're doing a lunch and learn for Love the Harrisonville Square on the 353 program on May 17th at 11 o'clock at the Brick House. So trying to keep it moving. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Alderman Dorhoff?
Yeah, what I got is wanted to thank the police department. Last week with all the storms that we've had back on Ridgewood behind me, there was a large tree that was uprooted, fell into the road. Luckily, there was a tree trimming service that was a couple blocks away. They went right over, chopped it all up, but we had 2 or 3 police officers that spent 2 hours gathering limbs, putting them in the trucks, and getting the road cleared. So I thought that was a great service. That's it.
Awesome, thank you. Alderman Milner?
I have nothing, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Graduation this
ahead.
Outside of this Friday's our graduation, so I want to congratulate our seniors for getting through all years of high school and wish them luck on their new adventures. And unless you have to go to that area, I'd avoid it.
Yep. All right, thank you. Okay, city administrator report.
All right, citywide cleanup, May 11th and May 18th at GFL's transfer station. And then Coffee with the Cop on May the 11th at the Brick House from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. The airport runway project continues to move forward with the removing of the existing runway asphalt. Also, the South Sewer sanitary project continues to move along with the 10-inch gravity. Oakville project as well with the proposed change order. And then the street maintenance building will start on the 20th of this month. And then the Royal Street project, you'll hear a lot more about that at work sessions, so I'm not going to go over a lot of that. And the Ash Street Bridge in Town Creek water improvements, about 93% on design. I never know where Carl gets his percentages exactly, but we're at 93% instead of 95% or 90%. So, you know, it's engineers. The Public Works Department received a Silver Shovel Award from Spire, acknowledging their safe digging practices and prevention of pipe damage during construction of the Spire facilities for 2023. Then as Alderman Davidson and Alderman, here's one on my head, Turner, I wanted to say the first name. It was Kenny and Terry and Roy that came in, and those three guys removed all the debris that was in that culvert. Our machinery is not large enough, and so they had to throw chains and drag a lot of that stuff out. But they did that and essentially got it done within 2 hours, because I called Patty when I got called at 4:15. I called Patty by 4:30, and they were out there by 5:30 and had it cleaned out by 7:30. And so
is that going to be a recurring issue, Brad?
well, I'm trying to make it very, very expensive for MoDOT. It's going to be very, very expensive for MoDOT. So, but because it's their responsibility to make sure and maintain those things. It's not the residents of Harrisonville's responsibility. But it is the residents of Harrisonville that are impacted the most when they don't do it. So we're trying to do that. But also, again, as I said, a couple weeks, the flood issues, and even including the lakes and what was considering with the dam. John Foster's here, and he was there when they were redoing the dam up there, and he said it's a miracle of God that we didn't lose that dam because it had more black dirt than it did clay. And but several of you that are still on this board that voted for those COPs to do this project against a lot of people giving and naysaying, you did it because it was the best thing to do for the community, and now you're seeing the fruits of that as a result. And so kudos to you all for looking out for the residents. Same thing with the electric department in the aggressive tree trimming, and that we budget quite a bit of that, over $300,000 a year just for tree trimming. And so it's beginning to, as saying, give great dividends, because in these last two storms, we've not had major outages. We had more outages with the GFL truck hitting the post and knocking down the power line and knocking 100 customers out. But again, that's more of the preventative that's been going on. During that first rain event where we received the 5 inches, there was 6.5, almost 6.6 million gallons treated at the wastewater treatment facility, and 4 million gallons in our overflow basins of the amount of water that was coming in. So our wastewater guys were very busy during that process as well. The drug take back event brought in 223 pounds prescription medications. So that's quite a bit. One of the things is on the chief of police selection. We received over 18 applications. Myself and a panel of staff pared those down to 5 with 2 alternates. In that first selection, we will be interviewing that first group to pare it down to 3 candidates, and then we'll take the top 3 and we'll schedule a timeout further where we can have different panels. I know an alderman has expressed interest, the mayor, and we have the business community that we're going to have as part of those panels, as well as some of our community organizations with Kiwanis and Rotary, Love the Square, and those different groups being involved with that day of process of interviews. I know it's the city administrator's decision, but I would like to get as much community buy-in for the person that we select and being a part of that process. And so you'll see more dates and names coming out. We also have Chief Harris involved with this first panel that's helping us out with this, as well as we will also get the police department involved with the staff in the process as well. So very good candidates. As the chief will tell you tonight, we had some really, really fantastic candidates that we're looking at, and it was really difficult to get it down to the number we're at now. So we're looking forward to that process. Fire station remodel continues to move along. Hopefully by the end of this month, be toward completion. And then the old county hospital has a big backhoe out there knocking down the front of it. They came in on Friday, paid for their demolition permit. By Friday around noon, brought in the equipment, and Friday afternoon started tearing down some of that building. So we're hopeful to get that forward on the process. They did get approved in Jeff City for their tax credits. We're told by Representative Hafner and some members of the MHDC board that they should see or be receiving those credits by the 15th of the month. So we'll see how it goes.
Sure.
One question, I know we talked about the double barrel underneath commercial. We used to have a lot of problems underneath 49. Was that, I didn't happen to check that, was that clear? Because we used to have a lot of build-up there.
It's got some build-up and debris in it. Not as bad as that commercial was, but it's got some.
We cleaned Clearwater.
I'm sorry?
We cleaned Clearwater Road, the bridge there, that's in Creek.
Yeah, the Clearwater, we did that one.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
ours.
There's a lot of
And the
stuff.
property owner that is causing that issue is in court, in our court, as a result of a lot of that.
Okay, that's good.
But I was talking specifically on
Right,
49,
yeah.
yeah.
I-49, we didn't touch, it's some.
Thanks, sir.
That's it, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Questions from the media? Nothing from the media. I'm just going to touch on a couple of things, actually. Definitely the debris cleanup down there. It was like they were a SWAT team made for that. You know, Friday afternoon, probably already on their way home and get called up, and out they are, and 2 hours later. I mean, that's pretty impressive that they move that fast on something like that. So definitely pass that along to them, that we appreciate that. Again, the Alderman retreat, I think we had a good time. Appreciate everybody hanging out pretty late that night. I think we were all having some pretty good discussions, and we got to talk about a lot of good things. So I think it was definitely worth the time that we put in for that. And then Mr. Foster actually brought to my attention recently, May 8th is Victory in Europe Day, VE Day, and he had a great idea, but I didn't have time to react and make that happen. So next year, maybe we'll do that. But definitely, let's remember that. And, we got a great memorial up here on our square of those that served in all the wars, but definitely in World War II, that greatest generation. A lot of those guys are no longer around. So let's just keep that in mind and on the 8th and enjoy our freedoms as Americans because of them. So, all right, that is.
Your address,
What's that?
your address.
Oh yeah, the 16th. Thanks for bringing that up. On May 16th, and that's out at the community center.
11:45.
At 11:45 will be my address, State of the City address at that point. So I think you can purchase tickets through the chamber. So $20. There you go. All right. Big money.
1886 is doing the catering, and the dessert is coming from the new